I did. I was Ron's best friend, worked with him the last 10 years of his life, and went with him most everywhere he went during that time period. I've been hearing a lot of these stories, and today you don't know what to believe, so I called Ron up and asked him if I could come see him, and met with him, and spent all day and half the night there looking at artifacts. And I was going to make a trip over to Turkey to see what I thought about that Noah's Ark site. And Ron said, well, when are you going? And I told him, and he said, well, if you'll help me work on Noah's Ark, I'll just go with you. And so that's when we went over and did what's known as the mini excavation, where we cleaned one side. It's the only excavation that's really been done at the site. That's the trip where Ron and I were working out at what we believe to be Gamar, and that's when the brimstone was discovered. This big chunk right here is where the brimstone was discovered. And so I just tried to be a good helper ever since then, and Ron passed away in 1999, and at that time I became president of Hawaiian Archaeological Research. So we're still working. We work over in eastern Turkey on a site that's the exact dimensions as specified in the Bible for Noah's Ark. Some people believe it's Noah's Ark. Some people don't believe that. We need to do a little more work. But what we find over there is a boat-shaped object, the exact dimensions as specified in the Bible. It seems to have been put together with metal fittings that we would call space-age alloys. But if you go back to Genesis chapter 4, it talks about a man named Tubal-Cain. It says he was an instructor of every artificer of brass and iron. And so, we find unusual metals over there. There's parts and pieces, 1, 2, 3 in a row. There's symmetry there. So we don't believe it's a natural object. And so we just present the evidence we have, let people check it out for themselves. The other thing we talk about is Sodom and Gomorrah, the cities of the plains, Sodom, Gomorrah, Admah, and Zeboim. And this is some of the pictures right here. And what we find is piles of ashes exactly where the Bible says they should be in Genesis 10:19. And in those ashes we find pieces of brimstone. And so everything the Bible talks about is still right there. The Red Sea crossing, we know where they crossed. There's a gradual slope right across there. And then Mount Sinai is over in Arabia, just like Galatians chapter 4 says. And so those are the things we talk about here at the museum. We talk about Noah's Ark, Sodom and Gomorrah, the Red Sea crossing, Mount Sinai, and our work in Jerusalem. Right now we're working under the Temple Mount. We're about 75 feet underground there. Working in passageways that we found. Some people believe that temple treasures were hidden underground during the Babylonian siege. And we found some of those passageways down there. And the last time we had about 60 people working on that project. Is this important to a person's faith? Well, the book of Hebrews says without faith it's impossible to please him. And it talks about people that, had faith, that went ahead and passed on along, but they still had faith. And so Ron believed that these things were attention getters. He called them God's attention getters, to get people to see that you really can believe what's written in the words of the Bible. So we don't have to prove these things in order to have faith. You don't have to see these things, but I believe that a lot of the miracles were done to kind of encourage people. And so we hope there's a little bit of encouragement to people, to get them to dust off their Bibles and take a look, and they'll realize that what the Bible says is true from beginning to end.